leave this here. Alright, so there's this thing I learned. So I'm gonna start out with the creative. Alright, I joined YFL in 2003, so I just turned 12, and I was really young, but this particular story stuck out to me. So it's called Ticket to Heaven. The story changes, like, it changes every time I give it, but the message always stays the same. So there are these two people, and one of them was given a ticket to heaven. They're on a subway. I'm from New York, so I'm going to say that they were on a subway, and the subway was going in a direction. So let's say it was going to heaven, but only one person got a ticket because he lived his life through God in the way that God wanted, and he got the ticket. And the other person didn't get one because unfortunately he did not live his life that way. So what happened was the man who didn't get a ticket was like, oh, you know, like, I don't want to go to hell. I want to go to heaven, like, just as much as, like, you do. And then the guy that got the ticket was like, yeah, just as much as that, like, I want you to go to heaven too. So I'm going to give you a piece of this ticket. So he gives him the piece of the ticket. And as he gives him the ticket, he's like, he goes up to the train conductor, and then the conductor's like, oh, you know, I'm sorry, but, you know, that's not enough. That's not enough pieces for you to, like, really get into this heaven that you speak of. And then the guy with the ticket is like, oh no, you know, we're in this ride together, so I still want him to go. So what he does is he gives him another, even bigger piece of his ticket. I hope that's right. So this is all that the man that had the ticket initially got. So as they were, this is gonna be hard. I'm sure I stop. So as they were talking, and then like he saw even more that, like, you know, the other man got even more than he had to start with, but the conductor was like, you know, I'm sorry, but that's still not enough. It's still not enough to go to get on this train to go to heaven. So I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to go. You're gonna have to go to this place. And then this is what happened. It's not working out for me right now, but as you can see, for those of you that can see, the man who got the pieces, his ticket spelled out hell. And then the guy who had his ticket, all of his pieces remaining, his ticket was still going to heaven. But, you know, the guy who had this ticket was like, you know, that's not enough. That's not enough for me. I still want him to go to heaven. So he took his ticket and he gave it to the man. And then, you know, the conductor moved with compassion. And obviously the conductor was Jesus. He was like, you know what? Because of your actions, you both can go to heaven. And yeah, that's my story. Alrighty. So, for those of you that don't know, I'll give you a brief introduction of my life. My name is JJ Fordan. And those closest to me, those in the community, because everybody knows me as JJ Fordan. So, I always like to say this as my introduction. There's 5 people in my family, and I love my family very much. There is, and we all have something in common. Yeah. So my father's name is Jerry. My mother's name is Josephina. They call her Joy. And then my sister's name is Jasmine. Yeah, she's somewhere. My name is Joseph. And then we have a dog named Jace. So yeah, there's the five of us. And then there's a sixth member of our family. He's in the center. And yeah, you guessed it. His name is Jesus. Alright, yeah. You know, I've learned a lot in this community, and we've learned a lot, I guess, throughout this week. You know, from the first session given by our wonderful sister Eliza Khan, she showed us that, you know, through God's relentless mercy, how God relentlessly poured out His mercy for our conversion, our completeness, and celebration. And if you guys noted that we ended the night off in adoration because our God was a relentless God, and we worshipped Him. That honestly could have been enough for the whole weekend. But we are people we are human. We want something to relate to. We want something to grasp. And I can't promise you that through this talk that you'll grasp something. But what I want you to know is that if you leave this room, if there's one thing that I want you to note or leave with this thought, and it's going to be what I want you guys to do right now. I want you guys to stand up just for a moment. Look to the brother to the left of you, and look to the brother to the right, and then tell them, I want you to go to heaven. So if there's one thing, just know that I want you guys to go to heaven. And the same way that you said it to the people to the left and the right, I want you to remember that you want them to go to heaven. And it's not only them. There's other people that you want to go to heaven also. So we learned through Eliza's talk that our God is relentless. Despite our insecurities and despite being whichever prodigal son you were, our God remains steadfast. And then we also learned that through John's talk, relentless mercy, that our God is willing to forgive us, that He will give us the mercy even if we don't deserve it. It culminated into the sacrament of confession, where we were absolved of our sins. And even then, look, we saw Jesus. That could have been enough. We got confession and absolution. That could have been enough for this week. But then even more so, moving on to relentless God, relentless love. Relentless love led by my counterpart Isa, where she talked about how our relationships in this community can cause us to hurt, but at the same time, our relationships are the main cause of, and through repentance, is how we share and how we heal through the mercy of God. And then we had that our healing through the towers of mercy with our parent coordinators, where we shared in that, and then we celebrated in Praise Fest, and we celebrated in our fellowship together. But this talk is about relentless outpour. You know that our God was there for us. We worshiped Him in adoration, and then you know that our God forgave us through confession. And you know that our brothers and sisters are there for us. But this talk is for those that don't understand that. This talk is for those that need God in their lives. This is the rest of the world. We live in a bubble. This community is a bubble. And the thing about this bubble is that when it explodes, it's going to go everywhere. And that's what you guys are called to do. You guys are called to spread God's message to the last, the least, and the lost. Because this world right now, this world that we live in, You know, they don't see God the way you see Him. They don't celebrate God the way you celebrate. This world, a lot of this world is in turmoil. A lot of this world, you know, it sucks. You know, recently we had the biggest shooting in the United States history. God bless their souls. All because of hate crimes. We live in a world where, for me, I'm from New York, I see at least one homeless person every day. We live in a world of hate, turmoil, poverty. This world needs mercy. And to get a better acknowledgement of what mercy is, you have to know, well, to get a better understanding of what I was just saying, you have to know what mercy is. And mercy is the act of forgiveness from someone with authority to someone that doesn't necessarily deserve it, or someone that deserves punishment. So mercy is the act of forgiveness to someone that the act is God. So mercy is something. I got this. Mercy is something that given from someone from authority to someone that deserves a type of punishment. This world deserves that punishment, especially all the things that we're going through, all the hate, all the loss. This world needs mercy, and mercy is only given from authority, and that authority is God. Understand that, brothers and sisters. You learned that this week. So what did I say? There's that one thing that I want. What do I want? What do I want from you guys? What do I want you, or where do I want you to go? That's so lame. Where do I want you to go? Amen. I want you to go to heaven. Proclaim it. Saying it is not enough. We have to do things, but that will come. This world is in need of mercy. Because this world needs mercy so much, but we were like born and bred and taught by society's ways that, you know, we don't deserve it. There's so many things that hinder us from that. One of these is like having a me mentality. It's like when we believe that others don't deserve mercy, when we don't receive it ourselves. Like when Isa, she came up here and she was like, you know, I love myself. And I don't know if I would be like Jesus and die on the cross for you. But then when she moved further, she went as far as, you know, I just got close to this brother who was Kendro, and then she also said that, you know, I would die on the cross for him because she loves. There's some people here in this room that feel like the world is out for them. People in this room. Imagine there are people in this room that feel that way. There are people in this world that, you know, the world is out for me. Why should I give mercy to others? And then, even more so, there are people with a hurting lifestyle. It's when people have been hurt so many times in their life that, you know, they've been hurt so many times that they don't know what love is anymore. They don't know what forgiveness is. They don't know what mercy is. You know, we usually think today that the pains and sufferings we have experienced are normal, you know, since people usually hurt each other. We're used to that. Society has taught us that all these hate crimes, all the poverty in the world, we're used to this hurting lifestyle, so we just let it be. It leaves us broken and empty. And lastly, we're from an abusive culture. Abusive not in the sense that well, it is in the sense that you take advantage of one's mercy, because I can tell you, I for one, I don't know who you are, I don't know what you do, I don't know your lives, but I know that I love God. And I know that for myself, I want to share God. Even if it means, loving you who I don't know. Even if it means sharing to you who I don't know. I want you guys to be that way. But some people just aren't. Some people don't have that much love. And then they get abused. People abuse their mercy. People abuse their love. And then eventually they get burnt out. You know how many people have left this community? All because they used the love that they had in the beginning, and they just kept being used and used and used. But brothers and sisters, I want you to go to heaven. And the thing about being abused is that we're human. We can't take all of that responsibility. As much as we think we can love, as much as I think I can love you, I can't do it. The only person that can do it is Him. He physically came down from heaven, humble, only to die. For someone that's going to sin over and over again. He loves you that much. He has the capacity to love. When they say 7 times, 77 times, that's just a number. He loves you an infinite amount of times. And only He can take that love, which He did when He died on the cross for you. So we move on to our theme for this year. Relentless mercy, coming from Ephesians. And we haven't talked about this all week, so now's a good time to start. Coming from the book of Ephesians. Coming from Ephesians, chapter 2, verses 4 and 5. But God, who is rich in mercy, because of the great love He had for us, even when we were dead in transgressions, brought us to life with Christ. By grace, you have been saved. By grace, you have been saved. Our God is rich in mercy, and we always compare mercy and grace. These are two similar things, mercy and grace. But the difference is that with mercy is given from God as an act of kindness, as an act of forgiveness to the people that need it, to the people that need it. That's what mercy is. But grace is given to even those that don't deserve it, to even those that aren't worthy. And God graces us with His mercy. And through that, our concrete example of Relentless Outpour is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is the face, the voice, and the fulfillment of God's mercy. Jesus Christ is the face, the voice, and the fulfillment of God's mercy. Jesus Christ is the face of mercy because He shows us how God cares for those who are suffering. He came down from heaven. He was a king. God's only begotten Son. But He didn't come down to earth as a king. He came down as a shepherd, carpenter's son. Born in a little, jank house in Bethlehem. Something like that. You can imagine my poor choice of words. You can imagine being a king and then coming down to this world that doesn't even deserve it, and then your father tells you, you know, you're gonna have to die for them. Jesus did that. He showed us that. He faced everything. That is why he's the face of God's mercy. He's also the voice of God's mercy. You know, Jesus' words have given inspiration and encouragement to the world that needed it the most. His words gave hope to people who have heard it through his teachings. You know, whenever Jesus went out and he preached the gospel, he didn't do it to the people that already knew it. He didn't do it to the scribes and the Pharisees. Jesus did it to the last, the least, and the lost. Jesus did it to the lowly, the sinners. Because they needed it. They are the ones who needed the mercy. And Jesus Christ is the fulfillment. You know, we can never understand God's mercy without looking to Jesus at the cross. The cross is the fulfillment. You saw when we did that little exercise, that little creative, the cross that came out of that ticket. Jesus Christ is the fulfillment through the cross, through dying on that cross and rising again. Jesus Christ is the face, he is the voice, and he is the fulfillment of God's mercy. So what does that mean to us? Like, we know Jesus Christ is that. We saw him. I can't reiterate this enough. We saw him in adoration. We confessed to him. And through our relationships with our brothers and sisters, you know, we were healed. But brothers and sisters, there's something more. There's something more. And I know you feel that. As great as the time that we've had spent together, you know that there's something more. I feel it in my heart when I'm up here. That there's something more that we have to do. Remember when Father Ted came here and he was like, "Are you guys warriors?" And then you responded, "Oh. Oh. Are you guys warriors? Oh. Are you guys warriors? Oh. Alright, so we're going to change it up. Because God does call us to be warriors, but he also calls us to be mercenaries. Ah, you get it? Mercenaries. God calls us to be mercenaries. Oh. God calls us to be mercenaries. Oh. Is that what you're about to